everyone, and welcome to episode 116 of my Guild Wars 2 Let's Play series. Today we are doing something a little bit different where I'm back on my Asuran Engineer, who I talked about wanting to play throughout Living World Season 1, Season 2, and Heart of Thorns just to experience the Engineer class a little bit. And today I want to go ahead and gear up this character and just try to get a build going and have some fun with some advanced engineering, where I have a rough idea for a build that I want. And I kind of want to use both a rifle and a hammer, which we will be exploring soon, but we can only use one at the same time. But I'm probably going to have both of them available where we can have both equipped, but in combat we can't weapon swap between them. But I might sometimes use a rifle, sometimes use a hammer, and just go back and forth. Where I have a really good rifle already, where let's go ahead and come into our training tree here, where I can go ahead and pick an elite specialization, which I could explore all of the elite specializations if I wanted to, but I'm not really super interested in doing that on all my different professions. I'm mostly just going to do that on Necromancer and Guardian, but we can go ahead and train into the Scrapper tree, which is the fun elite specialization from the Heart of Thorns expansion, and we can go ahead and go as far in as we can, where we are going to get to basically the same spot that we are at on our Necromancer character. And we can go ahead and come into here and we can see we just got a Scrapper's hammer. So we have this really cool like packed rifle that we got from completing the personal story. But let's go ahead and look at what stats we can get on here, where we can get berserkers, and I think that kind of sounds nice. So let's go ahead, get that, come into our equipment tree, and then we can swap out this old pistol, which might be the pistol that we started this character with, and then we got this very low level mighty iron shield. We'll go ahead and equip this, and now we can see our new hammer, and it is a wrench, and I love that so much. But let's go ahead and come into our build here, where I have explosives and firearms, and let's go ahead and just look at the different options, where we can also pick tools, inventions, and alchemy. But I think I want to go ahead and stick with these two, and we'll switch tools, where I think I like the build that I got going on right now, where we just deal like a bunch of bonus damage, where missile hits launch a rocket at your target. If we're going to use our hammer, we might not necessarily want that. Where we could go ahead and get some extra barrier, because I have a little bit of a fantasy that I want to go for, where we can go ahead and see that deal increased strike damage to foes with a lower health percentage than you. So I think that still seems good. And then we do have this stuff. You have an increased critical hit chance against foes within the range threshold. So I think that seems pretty good, especially if you're going to be using a hammer. And then same thing with that. And then gain quickness and stability when you disable an enemy, where we could deal increased strike damage for each condition on a foe, which is kind of like an interesting combination of like condi damage and power damage. But I guess let's go ahead and keep that. And then let's swap for the Scrapper, where we can't have everything just yet, but we can go ahead and access the function gyro. And I should maybe weapon swap really quickly just to learn all of that stuff. Where, there we go, thunderclap unlock. That was weird. Where that is kind of a bug that happens every now and then, where we now have a new friend hanging out with us, and it's like a tiny little bot that is going to be flying around, and this is going to be super useful for us, where we can create a lightning field at the specified point, then summon gyros to finish foes and revive allies within the field, which is incredible, especially in the open world, but also especially in PvP and world versus world. It is super good. But whale abilities have an increased area of effect and grant, oops, I just fell and died, that's so awkward. Whale abilities have an increased area of effect and grant super speed to nearby allies on their first pulse. Your function gyro also grants super speed to allies when cast. We have disabling a foe grants barrier to nearby allies. Your function gyro dazes foes when cast. And gain might, while you have stability, your function gyro applies stability to allies when cast. I think I want that. Get some bonus might going. Then using a heal skill grants super speed and a radius around you. Using a healing skill's associated tool belt skill grants you personal super speed, so that seems very nice to have. Regenerate health while affected by swiftness or super speed. So we can kind of see when we heal we gain super speed, and then when we gain super speed we heal a little bit more, so it's just some bonus healing. Your function gyro grants protection to allies when cast. Using a healing skill's associated tool belt skill grants protection to nearby allies, and deal increased strike damage while you have stability, swiftness, or super speed. This damage increases compounds for each boon you have, so that seems pretty good. And then we have a percentage of the strike damage you deal is converted into barrier, which is nice. So we're just going to be a little bit extra tanky with this, but kind of like how the name suggests, we're just going to be scrappy, where we can take some hits, but we're going to throw in some hits as well. And then we have some nice utility skills with our gyros. And then to look at the last line, which we can't unlock just yet, but as we progress through the game we will. Function gyro has additional charges, no longer has a recharge penalty, and grants barrier to nearby allies. Grant boons to nearby allies when you successfully combo a field with a blast, leap, or whirl finisher. Your function gyro is now a blast finisher. And then gain stability when you gain might at or above the threshold. Might gains bonus power. So I think I like these traits that we have, and we can test it out in the field as well. Where let's go ahead and come to the trading post next, because I think we got our weapons sorted out, and I should probably get some sigils, but we also have some of this jewelry that I picked up and I threw onto this character just to help me with leveling up, and I also have this back item. So really we just need to go for all of our armor, and then we could look at some other stuff as well, where just like on our necromancer we can go ahead and select a specific stat combination. And I have kind of an idea where I want to go for a more power focused concept, but I also want toughness instead of vitality, where this is power, toughness, ferocity, healing power, power, toughness, vitality, which is kind of a classic, but I think I want either precision or ferocity to go with it. So this is power, precision, toughness, concentration. Celestial is a classic, where celestial stats are an often popular choice for new players. We also got some commander stuff here with power, precision, toughness, concentration, but let's swap the precision out for ferocity and see what's available. Here we got power, toughness, ferocity, healing power, but power, toughness, ferocity, cavalier. Maybe this is what I'm going for. It is toughness primary though. I'm not entirely sure if I want that. Let's go ahead, bring our level to exotic and crusader, power, toughness, ferocity, healing power, and I guess cavalier is maybe what I'm going for. So let's go ahead and keep my berserker stuff, where I can go ahead and just have all of this, but then my armor can have some extra toughness, which I think is just going to be super helpful for us. But maybe we could even combine some of this stuff, because I have this armor. Yeah, I don't want that. Maybe I'll get not the helmet, and I'll keep the berserker helmet as well, where I'll go ahead and buy this, and then the pants, and then everything else that we need. But then we can look at runes, and I have one very specific rune which has a history of being known as kind of a meme rune, but it is the rune of the Golemancer. And I think since we are an Asuran, oh, I completely forgot that we can get the relic of the Golemancer, summon a golem while in combat. Let's go ahead and do that. And I guess runes of the Golemancer don't necessarily exist anymore, so I'm not sure what runes I want actually. Runes of the Scholar, which is kind of the classic like power DPS build, but maybe we could just go kind of on brand with a rune of the Scrapper, which is going to give us power, toughness, and vitality, which is cool. So we can go ahead and get some of those, and then we need to think about sigils. I'm thinking, what is it called? Sigil of Lightning? No, is it oh, maybe Impact is one that I want. Sigil of Impact. 7 gold, that's fine. Let's go ahead and grab that. And then there's a sigil I'm thinking of that I loved during Heart of Thorns on my Elementalist. It was Sigil of Air, I think. Let's look. Unleash a lightning strike upon critically hitting a foe. I think I want that. Where we can go ahead and kind of have that on theme with our whole like engineering stuff, where we can go ahead and like channel lightning down from the sky, where I think this is more kind of like on the idea of like magic, where we can go ahead and kind of like role play, where it's more like technology based. And maybe I should have this on each of my weapons, so I'll go ahead and buy one more of each sigil. And here we go, where I got everything equipped, and now I am pretty decked out, where this is probably all the gear upgrading I'm going to do on this character. Maybe we'll do a little bit more, so I think these are kind of like the final stats that I really got going on, and we're just above 20,000 health, which is really cool. So I got the gear and I got the build that I kind of want trait wise, but now we should look at some utility skills, and then we should look a little bit at fashion, where I do have the sneak gyro that we can get, which I think is a really cool ability, where it's really fun in like dungeons and like world versus world and PvP, but not necessarily going to be anything we are probably going to want to use. So we might just stick with the supply crate, where it's not super exciting. I don't really want Elixir X or the Elite Mortar Kit. We can also look at the Asuran ones, where we can summon a power suit, which we could enter, or we could summon 2 different golems to fight for us, which I think would be fun thematically, but I think maybe the supply crate would just be straight up better, where we can look at our healing options, and we can go ahead and get maybe the medic gyro, where this is going to be 4,500 straight up, down from 5,500, but we're going to get pulsing heals, where we're going to get basically 2,500 from the pulsing heals, plus we are going to get super speed, which I think I already kind of forgot is also going to heal us, where we actually did not pick that one. I picked this one, but maybe this would be nice, but it'll just deal a lot of this damage, but still it'll be super nice to have. Where looking to the other ones, having the personal battering ram is going to be really good for Defiance Break, and this is going to be really good for stun breaks, and I think I'm happy with them and don't necessarily want to switch them out. But we have lots of other options here, where we have Bulwark Gyro, which counts as a whale nowadays, where this is going to give a lot of barrier. We have a Purge Gyro, which is going to clear conditions from our allies, which is super nice. But then we have Blast Gyro, which is going to deal a ton of damage, and we also got Shredder Gyro, which I think is going to deal even more damage, where this is 12 times 3,012 damage, which is just insane. Let's go ahead and use this just to kind of see how it is, and it kind of follows us around, which is cool, and it's just going to deal so much area damage, and I think it's going to be super useful for us, and it's on like a very short cooldown, where we can go ahead and use this as well, and we can see it's just going to follow us around, and it is super nice, and it's a little bit bigger than our function gyro, which is also really cool. But I think I'm pretty happy with this. We might switch a few things out every now and then, but I like this quite a bit. The last thing we need to sort out is some fashion, of course, and I really want to use this character to highlight a lot of Living World Season 1, Season 2, and the Heart of Thorns expansion, while also highlighting some of the personal stories. So we'll keep the packed shotgun. I don't think I want to switch this at all, and we'll keep the scrapper hammer just because it's very thematic. But for our armor and also our back item potentially, we can go ahead and swap out a lot of stuff, where we have the Aether Visor, which I think is really cool, but I kind of like the Eagle Eye goggles more, which we started our entire adventure on. But then when we look at all of the other stuff, we have lots of options, and I might, for our shoulder pads, we're going to start with just maybe something pretty simple. Which one do I like the most? Kind of this one, honestly. where the emblazoned is like an okay set. We do have the fused ones, but I think I'm going to keep the council watch shoulder guards, and we will switch this up over time. For our chest piece, what do I want? Honestly, council watch also looks really cool, but I'm thinking maybe marauder looks pretty cool. But just take a look at everything that I currently have unlocked. And I kind of like the sneak thief, even though it doesn't really fit like the concept of an engineer. It does kind of fit the themes of the scrapper. So I'm thinking marauder looks really cool. I like the belt a lot. Or sneak thief. Sneak thief looks kind of like a mastermind type of build. Maybe I'll go with that for now. And then I think I want the antitoxin injectors. And I was thinking about trying to maybe go for like a condition-centric scrapper build, which just would make like a lot of sense for. But I think I want to stick with power, where I will probably change up my gloves too, because there's some more gloves that we will be unlocking soon. Maybe out of everything we currently have, the Aether or the goggles we currently have are going to be the only ones we keep. But just to pick very quickly, I don't like those pants really. I don't like those pants either. Maybe we'll go with the sneak thief ones as well, which does look actually pretty cool. So let's go ahead, grab that, and then boots, we can get the Watch Night Greaves, which I think actually look decently cool. Maybe we'll keep the Watch Night Greaves forever as well for our contribution from Living Road Season 1. So we'll have 2 personal stories, one scrapper centric, and then we'll have our boots be from Living Road Season 1 specifically. Right, let's go ahead, apply all of this. And we just got Tinker, 20 items transmuted, and I feel like that's kind of a fun name for the achievement just because we happen to be on an engineer as well. But we also need to pick out a color scheme, which I do not have many dyes unlocked at all, but I have 5 unidentified dyes here, and then also I have 17 in my bank, and then I have a ton on so many other characters. Let's go ahead, grab these, and then let's go ahead and just open all of them, where we can see what types of dyes we randomly get, where we're getting like a couple of repeats, but also a couple of rare ones as well. So we got all of ice, shy lilac, grapesicle, sea frost, summer thistle, earthen, spitfire, pastel honey, breeze dye, wasabi, adobe, winter mint, deep teal. We got royal blue, which might sell for a few silver actually. 8 silver, 9 silver. Where we got midnight rust dye and wine dye, sea breeze dye, dark olive, and then we got 2 honey butter, 1 midnight yew, and a humiliation dye. Let's go ahead sell that just to get like 10 copper back. But then I really like royal blue maybe, and then which one down here? Spitfire maybe. Right, let's just reset this really quickly so it's not all shiny. Let's just experiment with this for a second. Let's go ahead, swap everything out for a blue base maybe. Right, this is just a really nice blue. And then let's try Spitfire in different parts. So maybe like here and there maybe. And then there for our shoulders. And just have like a nice outline of red with our blue. Where actually we can make the inside of the antitoxin injectors its own color. So let's just go for this just to be a little dramatic, which actually looks kind of cool. I kind of like that. And then back to our red for our pants. Do that. And then do that. So where we kind of look like some sort of like superhero or something. But this is a nice kind of like starter outfit for us, and I feel like I like this dye scheme, but I might change it up over time, maybe something that like fits engineer in like a different way. But I feel like this is kind of like a cool like high-tech lab centric Asuran type of outfit. And I actually like it quite a bit. Maybe I won't even change it up. I'll change it up, don't worry. But I feel like this is a really, really cool start for this character. So now that we are fashionable, and now that we have potentially a powerful build, let's go ahead and test it out. Where I need to go and explore South Sun Cove on this character actually. So maybe I'll just go map complete that really quickly and just fight a few different Karka along the way. Here we are at Pearl Islet, and let's go ahead and just start with the rifle really quickly for a split second, just to kind of like remind ourselves about how the rifle works and kind of see it in the context of this build, where we got a Mark 1 Golem straight away, which is exciting and really does fit into the theme that we are going for here, with like just a master engineer that's really good at like a lot of different advanced techniques. But we also have our new tool belt skills here, where we establish a defensive field granting protection to allies in its area, which is nice. And then we get spare capacitor, set down a lightning capacitor to daze and damage foes near it, so just some bonus damage, which is cool. But let's go ahead and swap to our hammer, where we can start with just classic chain, where we'll gain might and apply vulnerability while we deal a bunch of damage. Then we spin around, reflecting missiles and hitting enemies, which is really nice. So whenever we see like a missile coming towards us, we can go ahead and use this. Oh, we dealt so much damage there as we opened. Where we got like a lightning strike from our sigil that we can see every now and then. And then we also have like our opening attack from the trait. And then we deal damage here, which is just incredible. I'm liking this so far. But let's try Electro Whirl, where we could have like destroyed that projectile or reflected it there, and we would deal bonus damage on top of that as well. And then we get Rocket Charge, dash forward with a Rocket Charge hammer to damage enemies, where it's a 1000 ranged attack, but it has 3 different leaps. So if you do it from like 1000 range, we're only going to deal the damage 1 time. But if you do it like right on top of an enemy, if you come to this one, we would hit this enemy like all 3 times, and we basically killed that entire enemy with just 1 skill, which is cool. This Reef Rider is inside this energy probe, which if we interact with it, we can see the probe appears to have self-destructed, where we can examine a few different energy probes. But next we have Shock Shield, block attacks with striking foes in front of you, gaining barrier with each enemy hit. So we just gained some more barrier, and this is again kind of just fitting into the theme of Scrapper being very scrappy, where we can take a lot of hits and deal a lot of damage as we do so. And then our big one here, Thunderclap, ionize an area, bringing down the power of lightning to stun foes and damage them over its duration. So really we do have like a lot of lightning themed stuff going on, which is cool. Or maybe we could get something lightning based from the Festival of the Four Winds. I could go check that out really quickly. But let's go ahead and use this and just deal a ton of damage here. And it's a big AoE attack, except my golem did knock it out of the field, which is good for Defiance, but not good for this. So it'll be fine. Since it is still the Festival of the Four Winds, we could go ahead and get Kite Basket supplies, which just show up around the different maps in Tyria, where we can get some quartz crystals and probably some other stuff as well. And we can progress and achievement towards unlocking all of them. I was looking at some of the Festival of the Four Winds items on the wiki, more specifically like some of the lightning themed items, and I think I'm actually good with what we currently got going on armor wise, and there are some other things that we can look at in the future, where the lightning stuff from Festival of the Four Winds is more kind of like magical lightning based than like technology lightning based. So maybe I'll try to look for some like tech based lightning items that would be cool. I'm not really sure if those even exist really. I'm really like unknowledgeable when it comes to like the different specific types of like armor and weapon designs that exist in the game, just because like I've unlocked a lot of stuff and I've looked at a lot of stuff, but I haven't, you know, really hyper focused on like a ton of like intricate, like super intense like fashion war stuff that you can do in this game. We've got some Karka around here that we can go ahead and fight, and we can just kind of use everything that we have learned, and also throw in some of our new gyros here, which is going to heal us. Let's try this damaging one, which deals so much damage, which is really cool. Or we could try to use that and also the thunderclap at the same time, and we would probably just deal like an immense amount of damage, and then we throw down the supply crate while we're generating a lightning field, and then just, what does blasting a lightning field do? Let's go attack this veteran car guy. I actually don't remember. Let's go through this, and then so we're not as tanky as I once thought. Where there's a guild bounty inside of that Karka, I think. Let's try this again. Throw this down, and then we get area swiftness. That's right, and we can just obliterate all the Karka. Very, very powerful. I did take a ton of damage from that one Karka, and I think that might just because I was bad. But we do have like so many defenses on this build, and of course I have to get a little bit more used to it. So hopefully we won't instantly die again like that. We're on a raptor right now. It's kind of different. Camp Karka waypoint. So one more waypoint left, and then wow, I'm missing 4 points of interest that I haven't gotten. Let's attack this veteran Karka again and try to just be a little bit better and just use some of our different stuff where we can go ahead and just deal an immense amount of damage. Where he's evading as well. We can evade that, and I think this other Karka is kind of trying to join in. Let's throw that, and then back up here. The function gyro is definitely going to be nice while we're still in the Living Road Season 1 to finish off the Nightmare Court, because I think that works. Where, oh, let's break out that, and so many evades, but I think these two are almost dead. We did get help from a friend here at the very end, but definitely very powerful. So really you just need to like evade like the biggest attacks that an enemy can do, it seems like, and then we have so much sustain from like everything else. So it seems like with this build we really need to focus on like the big mechanics, but when it comes to like enemies just hitting us and stuff, like we'll pretty much never go below like 90% health, it kind of seemed like there. And as we do that, we also just deal a decent amount of damage as well. We can definitely deal like significantly more damage if we wanted, but I like the idea of kind of playing like a tankier type of character, especially since like most of the time I do play very like glass cannon damage heavy builds that like die very easily but deal like an immense amount of damage, because Guild Wars 2 does kind of like focus around the concept of if you kill an enemy before it kills you, you kill the enemy and you don't die. But it is fun to like experiment with like some kind of like slightly tanky builds that do still focus a lot on damage. Alright, let's just try to deal as much damage as we can here, where we do like just instantly kill like these young Karka for the most part, and then we just have a little bit of like a tougher fight against the like stronger enemies. It does seem like we are kind of burst heavy, which is definitely like what a power DPS build is like, but there are like power DPS builds where like the damage is more consistent, but it kind of seems like when we first engage an enemy we deal like a ton of damage, and then like as we continue to fight it kind of slows down a bit until some of our stuff is off cooldown, and then we like get a burst of damage again, which I think is definitely like kind of a fun, you know, build you can play, where especially when we are doing open world stuff we can just like obliterate enemies and then go to a new spot and obliterate a new enemy. But when we're looking at like some more like different boss fights, we do need to be more aware about our utility usage and like when and when not we should be using our different skills. The last area of South Sun and the last point of interest I need should be right over here, where I'm forgetting where the last point of interest is. Oh, it's in Sawtooth Bay. So let's go over here. My golem can swim with us, and let's try to evade the sharks. But hypothetically, since we are like very lightning centric, we can go ahead and just blast the sharks with lightning while they're in water. But that's not how it works in Guild Wars 2, where we have now map completed South Sun Cove, which is fun. And let's go ahead and finish out this video just by killing the Twisted Marionette. We can watch her come down just like that, which is cool. It's cool to watch the cinematic, but it's cool to like skip the cinematic and see it from like a different point of view, I feel like.
That energy field's calibrated to teleport living matter. It's safe. Really? Go!
And I think Living World Season 1 is fun just because of like all the engineering themes with Scarlet Briar and the Inquest and Timey as well. Let's go ahead and go into here, and then we have the 5 boss fights we can do. Here's the first one. So we really just need to do damage from behind, so we can go ahead and just throw down some AoE fields maybe, and then just do our best like stick behind. But we can also just do a ton of burst damage, and we deal a lot of defiance damage as well, so we can really like rip through these break bars. But I do need to remember like which ones specifically do defiance. So number 5 does defiance break, and then number 9 and number 0 also deal a ton of defiance break. 5, 9, and 0, or shift 4 and shift 5 for my key binding, is going to be what we really want to use. Where the supply crate is definitely going to be like a tad bit more situational, so kind of saving 5 is great, and then using our personal battering ram, where even with like Thunderclap 2 we can like use the defiance break in order to like break the break bar, and then the Thunderclap is immediately on the ground for like the burn phase that we get after breaking defiance. So I think that's kind of like a cool like accidental combination that exists, where I just failed that so badly. Let's go ahead and throw this, and then just throw everything down. And then maybe this will be like when we did this last episode, where he'll just go back into the mines again. There we go. And I do need some healing. Let's go ahead and throw this. Use our healing gyro, and we're just gonna go like straight back up, and also gain some barrier, which for anyone who doesn't know, barrier is kind of like extra health, where it goes on top of your health bar, and enemies have to deal barrier damage in order to break it down to 0, and then they will start dealing damage to you. And same thing on enemies as well. We can kind of marvel upon Scarlet's engineering and take notes for ourselves, kind of like what Timey does, where we could also collaborate with Timey and try to do a project of our own. Where this is the bomb launch, so I think this one can just try to deal as much damage as fast as possible. We broke his break bar without me even realizing it came up, just because of our little lightning field here of Thunderclap. I need to remember that. But I really do like the theme I've gone here with like the combination of my relic and then my sigils and then like my different utility items. I think it's like really fun, and I'm really enjoying this, and I'm excited to do a little bit more into the future as well, where we are not breaking through the brick. Oh, there we go. And then let's try to kill really quickly. Use that. As you can see, my damage did kind of slow down a little bit just because stuff is off cooldown. But fortunately for us, the cooldowns are pretty short, and I can kill him. And then there's bombs we can avoid, and then the power regulator we can destroy. Now that I've been playing this build for a little bit as well, you know, I like the rifle, but I feel like I'm probably mostly going to stick with the hammer. I'm really enjoying the hammer. Where we'll definitely have the rifle if we ever feel like we need it for like a specific boss and we have it on hand, but I'll probably just default go in with the hammer, especially with some of the traits that we have. Where in this situation it would be nice to have our rifle, but we can't weapon swap. So let's go ahead and just like face tank this, where we do get a lot of barrier just passively, which is nice. So yeah, we're just like at 130% health basically all the time, unless an enemy is like explicitly attacking us. 4 chains have been cut, so we can go ahead and do the last boss, which is going to be the boss that splits into smaller bosses. Right, let's go ahead and top off on our health, where we do have like permatorment right now from some source, but that's okay. Let's go ahead and start attacking the regulator warden. Let's throw this down. Should maybe throw the lightning field first, and then use my supply crate just to get the swiftness. But I feel like the swiftness isn't too important, especially since we do have like a lot of sources of like super speed if we ever need it in like a specific moment like this. We can go ahead and throw that down, and then I thought we got super speed from that. I guess it's only from our healing. There we go. We remove 40%, I believe, instead of the 33% from swiftness. And then we also deal damage to 3 targets with our auto attack, which is great. So we're just kind of cleaving down these small wardens here. And then there we go. Boost our allies. kill the power regulator, and then we can go ahead and kill the twisted marionette once again after everyone deals with their stuff.
Yeah! Woohoo! We are super adventurers! Oh, disengage combat mode.
Tactic. You never fail to surprise me.
And with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this special episode good, where it was fun to explore more of the engineer and to get a good build going and to get a good outfit going. Once again, I really like this outfit, and we'll change it up a little bit as we unlock more stuff, but it's a very good start. Where maybe as we play more, it becomes less pristine, just more scrappy, as we are now a scrapper. But I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode, and I hope you all are taking great care of yourselves. Remember, as always, to drink some water and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you all next time on the road of Tyria. Goodbye.